causing the DNA damage. And one of those interesting is the BRCA2 gene, which has a direct role in capping the telomere. So the reason why that breast cancer gene is so critical is because it's involved with the capping and the uncapping. And here is the slide that everyone should understand intuitively. Larry King's sperm, perfectly long telomeres, and his kids' telomeres, etc. Premature aging kids, rapidly decreasing telomeres. G2, 3, 4 mice, rapidly decreasing. Regular cells, somewhere in the middle. Not immortal, not rapidly aging, but really not going to live forever. They're the Hayflick limit, but probably not as a result of their own telomerase activity, but the fact that the cells are usually derived from a stem cell, which she herself is aging. So she's not a straight line across like the perfect copies of the sperm and eggs. She's kind of on a downward slope too. Question from the chat. Do cells have to regenerate to increase telomere length? No, there's certain cells that are just doing that all the time, like your red blood cells, your skin cells, your intestinal cells. They have some telomerase activity, even though they're not what typically we consider stem cells, like 1 in a million queen bees. So no, it's an ongoing process of increasing telomere length if the engine is running. Ken Shepard asks, how critical is it to avoid telomerase inhibitors like resveratrol and others while taking TH65? I don't think it's critical at all. TH65 is a very benign, very harmless small molecule that has a limited scope of action. Resveratrol, in my opinion, is green cheese from the moon, basically. I mean, it's just this ridiculous thing that pretty sure the moon's not made of cheese, but apparently resveratrol got way ahead of itself in terms of somebody saying, hey, French people drink wine, they don't get as much heart attacks, therefore the wine must have something that...
365 zloty, remember, divided by 3. How many hours? 2 weeks, 2 days off, so it's 10, it's actually less than that. Oh my God, it's less than that. It's 12 days she works, 12 hours each day, it's 144 hours, and she gets 365 zloty. You've got to be kidding. 5 divided by 144. That's 2.53 zloty per hour divided by 3. 84 cents an hour.
That's worse than Fiji.
That is worse than Fiji.
Ridiculous. From an epidemiological standpoint, ridiculous. From a scientific standpoint, ridiculous. So the studies, they poured tens of millions of dollars into studying why. I don't know why they even picked resveratrol, but all these great people assumed that it was true and went out for a decade to prove that it was true, and it turns out that none of it is true, and it's just a poison, and the reason why your cells may live longer is because they're poisoned and they go into crisis, which is one of the very popular ways to live longer is to starve yourself, caloric restriction. But yeah, I mean, if you're in a hunker down, low metabolism, hibernation mode, your cells and you are going to live longer, but it's not as good a quality of life. But a large resveratrol study was abandoned, so resveratrol, in my opinion, is not good. It was a cure in search of a disease, and there's no mechanism whereby it would be good. say that it's a telomerase inactivator, this is ridiculous. It has no role whatsoever because you could put anything you want into a trap assay. You could put Tabasco sauce or Tylenol. Yeah, and maybe there'll be a downstream effect, but that doesn't mean it's directly related to either TERT or TERC. So I would say, you want to take supplements, that's fine. I don't think they're helpful, but I wouldn't say that something specifically is a telomerase inhibitor or a telomerase activator unless there's really good reason to think it's got a direct role in that. Oh, and if you think that was bombastic, wait for next week when I talk about diet and obesity, because basically the whole thing will be debunking what people intuitively think to be true about eating. It turns out that actually, I think in podcast 6 we talked about the fact that the food pyramid was basically agribusiness's attempt to BS us. And since podcast 5, I'm happy to say that the Big Brother, U.S. government, has rescinded the food pyramid and gone back to a paleo diet recommendation, which since Dr. Atkins in the 70s, we've known that it's all about the glycemic index. It's not about fat and carbs and all that. Really, we're not what we eat. And next week you'll find out that a lot of things that people think they know about nutrition are not true. And a simple proof of the fact that we're not what we eat is that we would all be cannibals and vegetarians would all be vegetables. So you basically, your bodies are metabolic machines and they create fat, carbs, proteins from eating fat, carbs, proteins. That's what it's all about. But next week we'll talk to a bunch of people who lost weight or even gained weight and discuss what the real deal is with nutrition and with obesity. Any other questions? So yeah, food pyramid in the toilet. All right, so we got everyone on board now. Everybody that, all these wonderful, actually thanks for everyone that tuned in. There's a lot of names here I see, and I really appreciate you guys tuning in. It's hard to talk to an empty room. Any questions? Bob, you're always having audio problems. What's up with that? Maybe I need to send you some batteries for the hearing aid. Just kidding. So here we go. Everyone remember the genetics, the Yalta, Larry King, what's the matter with kids these days? Mice that were broken and then fixed. Super mice with extra reverse transcriptase. Harvard super mice getting young, reverse transcriptase restored. Telomerase is activated transiently while you're taking K65 in mice. And the way it's working is by reducing the proportion of signal-free, damaged, short, these donuts, these double ends. It's killing off some bad cells, we think, I think. And that repair is permanent. So, anyway, stick with the T65 if you're taking it. Really, I feel like it's important to have a doctor to talk to, and if you buy it from elsewhere, I think you'll have a hard time getting a doctor on the other side of the line, whereas, we are pretty much always talking and emailing and listening with our patients, and so we can share the information better. It's better to have a doctor helping you than to just mail order and flush it down the toilet if you're not even absorbing it. So we're happy to take any Bionis patients, and it's complimentary as long as you're ordering with us. And I just think if you're going to spend that kind of money and really take that kind of powerful supplement, you want to have somebody following it. You just don't want to be putting that in your body and having no effect, or maybe an unpredictable effect, or an effect that you don't know, is this normal? So it's a big deal. It's not something that I would just do it yourself and just mail order, because there's a lot going on here on different levels, and it helps to have somebody with a little experience who's going to listen. Kenneth, thank you for listening.